Well, welcome back, my friends, all to another rousing rendition of Choir Boys Outdoors. I couldn't change the opening if I tried, for the simple fact I'd do it without thinking about it. Not that I've thought about it, but I just thought I'd mention that. This is the Elbrus from Work Tough Gear. It's Work Tough Gear Wednesday. Now, this knife is dropping tomorrow, Thursday, February 13th, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm going to put a link in the description. I never do that. I'm just going to be nice. Let's all thank our lucky stars. Actually, I always forget to do it, so it'll be in there. Listen, the best knife you have never heard of. Now, in my little reviews, videos, and things like that, especially with Work Tough Gear, I kind of wonder and I ramble and I touch on the knife and I keep moving. My goal for this video is to stay focused on the knife because it is a fantastic knife. Now, it's a drop point. It's close to being a spear point, but it's a drop point. It's in Bowler K329 steel. It's the Elbrus, Elbrus. It has G10 handle scales. They're grippy. I'm going to kind of focus on that. The blade stock is 3/16, and it kind of tapers down quickly to 1/16, but it is insanely strong, as hopefully you'll see throughout this video. The fullers, they're almost like teardrop fullers. You see them there. It has some jimping and a nice ramp, a good choil that I like. It has the hidden lanyard hole at the bottom of the knife or the pommel. It's just badass. Let me give you just some straight up specs. 3/16 on the blade stock. It tapers down to a 16th. The knife weight is 14 ounces. The overall length is 12 1/4. The blade length I got between like 6 3/4 to 6 7/8, just kind of shy of 7 inches. The cutting edge is 6 3/8. Now I pull everything by hand. The blade width is 1 5/8 inches. The handle length. Now, when I say handle length, just to kind of quantify, I'm talking about the actual handle scales, the slabs, is 5 3/8. The inner grip is 4 1/4, which is a very, very important measurement to me. The handle thickness is 3/4 inches. Now, here's the deal. This thing came sharp as shit. It's slicey as hell. It's a high saber grind with a micro convex cutting edge. I love the way Work Tough Gear does that. It's a mirror polished edge, wicked sharp. Now you see I look like the Pillsbury Doughboy there. I can't help it. I had to sandblast today, and I'll be damned if I felt like getting sand everywhere. So what I wanted to do in our normal fashion, I opened the video kind of cutting a lot of different mediums. This is a cutter's delight, a slicer's dream. I really, really, really like this knife. And the reason I say it's one you never heard of, because a lot of times with Work Tough Gear, Mr. Vic puts his designs to the back and he lets his other designers shine. And that is admirable and it is commendable and they love him for it. But I'll be damned if I'm going to be honest with you. I wish Vic would put out more of his designs. Now, every time I mention it, and I mention it pretty often, he just says, man, I like helping other people. This is a very clean design. I like the design. It's got a nice aggressive look. So honestly, if you wanted use it as like a combat utility knife, you most certainly could. Most of the weight, like I said, it's 14 ounces. A lot of that sits in the handle. So it's light, it's fast, it's easy to control. The G10, I always say grippy G10, and I kind of move on for that. Let me just say this. The G10 on this knife is aggressive. It is not uncomfortable. And I think where that plays in and is beneficial. Now, I've got dead hands. I've quit saying rougher or tougher hands. My hands have been beat to hell in these 53 years, a lot like you guys have. You know, you use your hands, you work with your hands, you do dumb shit with your hands, and you wind up paying the price. So for me, although I do have some dead spots kind of in my hand, I still have a pretty good grip. but I like the aggressiveness of the G10. It's not uncomfortable. It is aggressive. And again, if you wanted to wear gloves, it would really play into that. Now, we're doing the stab in the wood. Here's the deal. I hate this test. I really do, or demonstration. I just do. It's in my opinion, it is, and it will always be a knife reviewer's test. And what I'm saying there, it shows more the strength of the knife reviewer. I just don't enjoy it, but I do it to show you that the tip is not soft. Now, I could go a lot more crazy, but why? If you do more than that with the tip of your knife consistently, you probably should just get a pry bar. I was surprised by a couple things. One, by the way it chopped. Now, is it a chopper? Well, you can chop with it. I wouldn't quantify it as a chopper. It does a phenomenal job. And again, that's where being easy to control comes in handy. I believe having a little more weight in the handle comes in handy. You can just really, really lay it in there. Some quick pop chops. Now, I've mentioned this every damn video. This is what we call dunnage, or what's that stuff? Landscaping timber. It's pine. You can see a wood knot right there. I like using it because once it dries out, it's not like super duper hard, but it's hard, if that makes sense. And if you chop into some of the wood knots, it gets really tough. But the other thing is it presents a couple of its own challenges, right? Plus, once I chop all this stuff up, I get all the scraps up and I use them for starting fires because it's great fire starter. Right here, and I say this a lot too, I do not really baton in real life. I do in these videos, and I've cut back except for work tough gear because it's in the name, tough. These knives are tough, but I want to explain this too if you're new here. I'm not here to break the knife. I'm not here to push the knife to its limits. I'm here to push the knife to the limit that I'm going to use it, you see. And that's what I do. And that's not an asshole thing. I've come to figure out I can be very, very hard on my stuff. I really can. Not really intentional. I'm hard on it. So I figure like this. If I use it close to the way I'm going to use it in real life, you get a good picture. Now, when I say I don't baton, what I'm saying to you there is this: out of necessity, I will do some light batoning around the campfire. Like if I get a batch of knives in before I go camping and I want to kind of see how they handle, see how the handle scales hold on, that's really when you start batoning. Yes, you're putting pressure on the edge, but it's also to see if there's any hot spots in the handle. With work tough gear, I've mentioned this before, they do three things incredibly well. Their handles are incredibly comfortable. They have very, very sharp knives, and their heat treat is spot on. So when I do batoning, is to kind of show that edge, the durability of the edge, right? It's to see if there's any hot spots in the handles. It's to see if the screws loosen up, anything like that. I decided to go a little bigger, a little tougher on the batoning today than I normally do in my videos. But again, there's no hot spots in the handle. One thing that I noticed with the batoning with this knife, because the blade stock thins out, is it just kind of sails right through. Now, again, this isn't super hard, super dense wood. It's not, but we hammered right through a couple of pine knots. And in all truthfulness, too, if I was at the studio, I could find something a little different to use. But we use what we got. I wanted to make sure to get this video out. Why is it the best knife you never heard of? Well, a lot of Vic's knives get pushed to the back. I've mentioned that. It's one of the best ones because it's light, it's fast, it's sharp, it's handy. You could do combat utility, you could do camping, you could do hunting, you could do fishing, you could do day hikes. It's big enough to handle any kind of task you need to handle. At the same time, if you wanted to carry it scout or carry it like I do, which is just in the Kydex sheath tucked between your belt and your pants, it is very, very low profile, comfortable in hand, and it's badass looking. This knife performs. Again, you see that mirror image right here. I haven't done double taps in a while, and you're going to see that pretty quickly. but I decided to leave everything in. I love doing this. There's certain things I like doing. I like, slicing paper. I like, and that's really for the ASMR part of that. I like cutting bottles. It's fun. But there are also great ways to get the feel of the knife. It really is. Honestly, I'm not going to go out and knife fight anybody, good Lord willing, but just doing some double taps. And I don't just do 2 or 3 for the video. Trust me. My guys leave water bottles all over the place. So I'll collect up a bunch and I just practice. Now there I'm showing you how it thins out. You see from the handle down, and it's just got a great looking profile. The choil there that you see is kind of open-ended. It doesn't lock you in. I like that. It's very, very comfortable. If I want to go up into kind of that, if I want to choke up on the knife, and I'm going to show you that in just a minute, that choil makes it to where I can push back towards the handle. I've got real good control. Now, we did the J.C. Owens tip test. Now, that's different from the other test. The J.C. Owens tip test is kind of where we jab it in the wood and just spin it around like we're making a bow divot hole, a bow drill divot hole. Now, right here, we're not doing a chest lever pull cut. That's a scoop. You see how it's scooping? This knife is incredible. I need to do a tri-stick with it. I really do. But the tri-stick for me is a way that I can hold it and manipulate the knife in a lot of different ways. Matter of fact, I tell you what, I'll do a tri-stick this weekend with this knife and we'll see how it fares. Now I got a little out of focus there, and I apologize for that. It always comes down to this, guys. Would I carry it? Yeah, I think this is a sleeper knife for Work Tuff Gear. I think it's one of their most underrated knives. I really do. I think it hits over its weight. Well, there's the J.C. Owens test right there. Speak of the devil, there it is. And it performed very, very well on that. Now, guys, listen, there was a time in this country where 22 veterans a day took their own lives. Stats are everywhere, and that's a shame. They ought to be at 0. That's why here on this channel, that's the number we focus on. Anything over 0 is simply unacceptable. Vets, we love you. Man, you have a place here. I back the blue. It's not popular, and I'm okay with that because I don't just shove it down your throat. I don't ask you to do anything with it. It's just something I believe in. Finally, if you are an addict, never quit quitting. Awesome damn knife. I love this knife. And y'all hear me say that, and I know you do. And I know some of you get tired of it. I haven't understood why you hadn't stopped watching, but if it's on the channel, I love it. I just do. Guys, I'm scabbed. Now, this was impressive, too. Before I wrap it up, the edge held in there insanely well. And I cut that tire a bunch, not just at the opening. I did a short with it, and I stripped out 2 tires, basically just cut the sidewalls out of them. I needed to so I could throw them away. So this thing has cut a ton today. I'm scared. You're not. I'm gone, son.